Hello everyone, I am Seema Parashar, and in this episode I will explain you about reproduction in plants, chapter 8 of class 7th. We have already learned in class 6 the most of the plants we see around us bear flowers. These are called flowering plants. Plants like rose, hibiscus, sunflower, mango, mustard, etc. are flowering plants. Whereas plants like moss, algae, fungi do not bear flowers. These are called non-flowering plants. To produce its kind is a characteristic of all living organisms. The production of new individuals from their parents is known as reproduction. But how do plants reproduce? Well, there are different modes of reproduction in plants which we shall learn in this chapter. In class 6, you learned about different parts of a flowering plant. Most parts parts of plants have roots, stems, and leaves. These are called the vegetative parts of a plant. After a certain period of growth, most plants bear flowers. You may have seen the mango trees flowering in spring. It is these flowers that give rise to juicy mango fruit we enjoy in summer. Okay, we eat the fruits and usually discard the seeds. Seeds germinate and form new plants. So what is the function of flowers in plants? Flowers perform the function of reproduction in plants. Flowers are the reproductive parts. And the basic parts of a flower are sepals, the outermost green leafy structure that protect the flower at the bud stage. Petals, leaf-like colored parts. Next to the sepals, the bright color and fragrance of the petals attract insects that help plants in the reproduction. Next is stamens. Stamens are the male part of the flower. Each stamen consists of a thin green stalk called filament with a bag-like top called anther. The anther carries several pollen grains. Pollen grains are dust-like particles and take part in reproduction. And next is pistil or carpel. A flask-shaped structure in the center of the flower is called pistil. Pistil is the female part of the flower. The lower, broader portion of the pistil is called ovary. The ovary contains female sex cells called ovules. The narrow upper portion of pistil is called the style. The sticky end at the top of the style is called stigma. The ovary of a flower develops into the fruit. Its ovules form the seeds. Okay, now you may get confused because I am saying to you that new plants are obtained from seeds, but we never see the seeds of sugarcane, potato, and rose. So how these plants reproduce? Okay, there are several ways by which plants reproduce or produce their offspring. These are categorized into two types: asexual reproduction and sexual reproduction. In asexual reproduction, plants can give rise to new plants without seeds, whereas in sexual reproduction, new plants are obtained from seeds. So number one is asexual reproduction. Asexual reproduction is a process where a single parent produces offsprings that are genetically identical to the parent. There are several methods of asexual reproduction in which new plants are obtained without production of seeds. Number one is vegetative propagation. It's a type of asexual reproduction in which new plants are produced from roots, stem, leaves, and buds. Since reproduction is through the vegetative parts of the plant, it is known as vegetative propagation. So for that, activity number one: cut a branch of rose or champa with a node. This piece of branch is termed a cutting. Bury the cutting in the soil. A node is a part of the stem or branch at which a leaf arises. Water the cutting every day and observe its new leaf to arise. Observe and record the number of days taken for roots to come out and new leaves to arise. You can try the same activity by growing money plant in a jar of water and then record your observation. You must have seen flower buds developing into flowers. Apart from flower buds, there are buds in the axil. Axil is the point of attachment of the leaf at the node of leaf which develop into shoots. So these buds are called vegetative buds. A bud consists of a short stem around which immature overlapping leaves are present. Vegetative buds can also give rise to new buds. Okay, now activity 2. Take a fresh potato, observe the scars on it with the help of a magnifying glass. you may find notch or bud in them. These scars are also called eyes. Cut the potato into small portions, each with an eye, and bury them in the soil. Water the pieces regularly, but small quantity of water for a few days, and observe their progress. You will observe that the pieces with the buds give rise to fresh green shoots and roots of potato. Here, likewise, you can also grow ginger or turmeric. Then, bryophyllum leaf. It has buds in the margins of it. If a leaf of this plant falls on a moist soil, each bud can give rise to a new plant. How interesting. Okay. And roots of some plants can also give rise to new plants. Sweet potato and dahlia are examples. Plants such as cacti produce new plants when their parts get detached from the main plant body. Each detached part can grow into a new plant. Plants produced by vegetative propagation take less time to grow and bear flowers and fruits earlier than those produced from seeds. The new plants are exact copies of the parent plant as they are produced from a single. So later in this chapter, we will learn that plants produced by sexual reproduction have characters of both the parents. Plants produce seeds as a result of sexual reproduction. Okay. So second type of asexual reproduction is budding. We know that the tiny organisms like yeast can be seen only under a microscope. These grow and multiply every few hours if sufficient nutrients are made available to them. Remember that yeast is a single-celled organism. So, let's see how they reproduce. For that, activity number 3. Take a piece of yeast cake or yeast powder from a bakery or a chemist shop. Take a pinch of yeast and place it in a container with some water. Add a spoonful of sugar and shake to dissolve it. Keep it in the warm part of a room. After an hour, put a drop of this liquid on a glass slide and observe under a microscope. What do you observe? You may see the formation of new yeast cell. The small bulb-like projection coming out from the yeast cell is called a bud. The bud gradually grows and gets detached from the parent cell and forms a new yeast cell. The new yeast cell grows, matures, and produces more yeast cells. And sometimes another bud arises from the bud, forming a chain of buds. So if this process continues, a large number of yeast cells are produced in a short time. Clear? Now, third type of asexual reproduction is fragmentation. You might have seen slimy green patches in ponds or in other stagnant water bodies. These are the algae, Spirogyra. When water and nutrients are available, algae grow and multiply rapidly by fragmentation. An alga breaks up into 2 or more fragments. These fragments or pieces or filaments of the Spirogyra grow into new individuals. This process continues and they cover a large area in a short period of time. Next is spore formation. So in previous chapter, we learned that the fungi on a bread piece grow from spores which are present in the air. So take a piece of bread and moisten it with water. Leave it in a moist, warm place for 2 or 3 days. Observe the patches under a microscope or a magnifying glass. You will see cotton-like threads spread on the piece of bread. These organisms are spores. When spores are released, they keep floating in the air. As they are very light, they can cover long distances. Spores are asexual reproductive bodies. Each spore is covered by a hard protective coat to withstand unfavorable conditions, such as high temperature and low humidity. So they can survive for a long time. Under favorable conditions, a spore germinates and develops into a new individual. Plants such as moss and ferns also reproduce by means of spores. So this is all about the asexual reproduction in plants, and in our next class I will tell you about sexual reproduction in plants and pollination. So till then, keep reading, keep listening. Okay, bye.